Good evening and welcome back to Around the Grounds here at Finalwhistle.ie. Another jam-packed, action-filled night coming from both the Premier and the First Division with 7 games down for discussion this evening. Of course, we had one game yesterday in the form of UCD taking on Shamrock Rovers in the Premier Division, but we do have more action, of course, coming around the grounds this evening. We will start our action over at Diarmuid Park, where Bohemians were in action against Sligo Rovers tonight, and watching live for us was Sean Crosby.
Yes, well, full time here at Diarmuid Park. It finishes Bohemians 2, Sligo Rovers 1. A huge 3 points for Keith Long's men, and quite a scrappy game though that they did dominate really from start to finish. But fairly quiet opening 10 minutes here. Really, not a lot to report on. Junior went down early inside the Sligo Rovers box and I was for a penalty, but the referee waved play on. The first chance of the game didn't really come until the 15-minute mark for Kieran Kelly for Bohemians. He had a glancing header tipped onto the crossbar by Ed McGinty, who was brilliant inside the Sligo Rovers goal this evening. The game was kind of stagnated quite a bit. Bohemians were forced into 2 early changes in the first half. Chris Twardek coming off from Max Murphy with an injury in the opening 30 minutes, as well as Chris Twardek coming off there. Sligo didn't really produce too many chances themselves. James Tull wasn't kept that busy in the Bohemians goal. He had to punch a Carlos Sullivan curling corner off his line. That was really it. The final chance of the first half falling to Junior again, who shrugged off Gary Buckley inside the Sligo Rovers penalty box and had an effort goal, but just dragged wide. Scoreless at the break, Bohemians did really look like the better team and were dominating proceedings, and they continued that in the second half. Dawson Devoy coming close just 10 minutes into the second half. Max Murphy picking him out at the back post with a great cross, but Devoy's volley was just over the bar. But it was on the hour mark that deservedly so Bohemians took the lead. A great driving run from Jordan Flores took him to the Sligo Rovers byline, and he pulled the ball back to Promise Omashere, who just about managed to get the ball out of his feet and rolled it to Dawson Devoy, who slotted home into an empty net. And again, same as really for Bows, continuing to dominate. McGinty was forced to do great saves tonight, Junior, on 75 minutes. Junior doing really well to get up for a header into the bottom corner, but it was saved by McGinty. But a few minutes later, there was absolutely nothing McGinty could do when Junior would make it 2-0. Again, it was Promise Omashere who had the ball in the 6-yard box, managed to get out of his feet and roll it over to Junior, who tapped into an open goal. Sligo then, it was only really after seeing Sligo began to get some chances, and with 3 minutes to go, the ball fell to Adam McDonald, who drilled it home past James Dahl from the edge of the box to make it 2-1. But it wasn't enough, and for Sligo Rovers, and Bohemians ran out 2-1 winners, and they're now back in action on Monday away to St. Pat's. And as for Sligo Rovers, they're at home to Derry City on Monday. So it finishes here: Bohemians 2, Sligo Rovers 1.
Perfect, Sean. Thank you, as always, reporting live from us from Diarmuid Park. And going down into Munster, an action-filled game down at Turner's Cross, where Cork City were looking to continue their challenge at the top of the table. They took on Wexford, and reporting live from Turner's Cross is Sam Curtin.
Hi, Deborah. Yes, it is full time here at Turner's Cross this evening, and Cork City's chances of automatic promotion have suffered a slight dent this evening as they drew 1-1 with battling Wexford tonight. It was the visitors indeed that did get off to the better start in the opening 10 minutes, especially without really troubling Cork goalkeeper David Harrington in the Cork net in front of the shed end, but putting together some nice spells of possession, which gave Ian Ryan's side real encouragement throughout the first half. City did take over soon afterwards, however, though, and Rory Keating had the best of the opening 20 minutes. And with regards to chances, he's 17 minutes solo effort running in behind the Wexford defence, finished with a shot, which, in fairness to Wexford goalkeeper Alex Moody, did really, really well to make a great save from close range. The home side, though, would get the breakthrough eventually in the 23rd minute, and it came from a moment of brilliance from left-back Kevin O'Connor. He did really well to make space out on the right wing, cutting inside, making room for a fantastic right-footed shot, which found the bottom corner, giving Moody no chance in the Wexford net to give the hosts a 1-0 lead. To the credit, however, though, Wexford did come back into it later on in the second half, just before half-time, actually, or around the half-hour mark, rather. Cork defender Ali Gilchrist had to clear a ball off the line, which was very close to silencing the Shed End. But they would be silenced just after half time as former Cork City man Connor Davis found the net for Wexford from a set piece. The visitors had been threatening a lot from corners and free kicks indeed throughout the afternoon, and it did kind of appear like if they were to get a goal, it would come from a place ball, and that's exactly what happened. Connor Davis taking advantage of the rebound from David Harrington, and he slotted in the goal to make it 1-1. From there, the goal really seemed to rattle Cork, and I guess the game kind of descended into a few handbags here and there over the next 15-20 minutes or so as a real kind of scrappy feel came to the game. And he had two players in particular who were probably lucky not to see red were Rory Keating and Aaron Dobbs for Cork and Wexford respectively, both inciting a bit of a melee around the centre circle just before the hour mark. I'm probably lucky not to see red there. Cork did throw on the subs, did try and go and get the crucial goal, but it just did not arrive. And in fairness, Wexford thoroughly full value for a point here this evening. Ian Ryan will be certainly the happier of the two managers at the end here at Turner's Cross, as it finished in front of over 2,800 people. Cork City 1, Wexford 1.
Perfect, Sam. Thank you, as always, for reporting for us from Turner's Cross. Now, moving back to the capital, the Dublin Derby in Inchicore, as St. Patrick's Athletic were taking on Shelbourne. Reporting live from Richmond Park is Matthew O'Donnell.
Yes, sir. With Shelbourne 2, St. Patrick's Athletic 1 here at Richmond Park. A really hard-working performance from the North Dublin outfit. They started the better of the two sides and got their reward when Jack Moylan, who was brilliant all night, might I add, latched onto a clearance before dumbing a shot past Gravosky and firing the ball into the back of the net. However, Joe Redmond equalised right on the stroke of half-time when Shells failed to clear a corner, and following some nice interchange in and around the box, Redmond latched onto a ball across the face of goal to equalise. Shells started better the second half again and got their rewards in the 54th minute when JJ Lundy picked up the ball at the edge of the box before he dummied a shot, and his strike was deflected in past the helpless Lang into the far corner. The hosts huffed and puffed in parts, but in truth, Shells were well worth their win and worked extremely hard by keeping a really good, solid defensive shape and restricting Pats of any real chances. The closest Pats went came in the 70th minute when Owen Doyle, with the goal gaping at his mercy, mishit a shot and Shells were able to clear. But other than that, Pats it was a pretty poor performance to say the least. Another poor performance at home, might I add. And yeah, then we are Richmond Park, Shelbourne 2, St. Pat's 1.
Perfect, Matthew. Thank you for that report. Now, looking to action again in the First Division, Galway were looking to charge for the top of the table at Eamon DC Park when they were in action against Athlone Town. Watching the game for us was Sean Comer.
Yeah, Diarmuid, it's full time in Galway, and Galway have won 3-0 at home to Athlone Town. They've taken advantage of the drop points in Cork, and they now lead the First Division. Although 4 minutes in, it looked like it might not go to script for Galway in this one, as Aaron Connolly played through Gary Armstrong for Athlone, who tested Cairns at his near post, but he was equal to the test. Galway did have about their first chance of the first half in the 13th minute. When Stephen Walsh was played through, he tussled back and forth with Aaron McBride, and he eventually poked his shot wide, although there was no real sense of urgency for the hosts throughout the first half, and that kind of showed in the 37 minutes when they got a bit of a warning shot from Athlone. When Success Edogan got the ball just on the left-hand side of the box, he took it onto his right, hit a shot which looped due to a deflection and went just wide. To be fair to Galway, they would heed the warning. About 2 minutes from half-time, the ball was headed down to Killian Broder in the box, and he scuffed it just wide. Following John Caulfield's team talk, there was a lot more urgency to their play, and it showed very early on, just 3 minutes out of the halftime break. Wilson Wawera was played through, and he smacked the upright from that effort, and it showed it was probably just a matter of time before Galway would score, and they did in the 54th minute. Alex Murphy beat Mark Smith in the Athlone goal to a cross, heading it in. The cross came in from Hurley, and it looked, you knew from that point on that Galway were always winning this one. It was just a matter of how much they would win it by. In the 64th minute, Galway showed that they were constantly threatening from set pieces when Walsh floated a header just onto the roof of the net. I mean, it was basically where all their chances were coming from. 5 minutes later, where he flicked on a second ball at the back post, but he just couldn't steer it in. In the 80th minute, Galway would make it 2, where it was played through. Mark Smith came out, got down well, saved it, but the rebound fell to Walsh. He was fouled just inside the area. It was a clear penalty. And Alex Murphy stepped up and absolutely slammed it into the back of the net. to make it 2-0 to Galway. And then in the 90th minute, the cake had its icing. A free was pulled back to Ronan Manning. He took a touch onto his right foot, slotted into the back of the net to make it 3-0. And yeah, very happy night for Galway, given that they now lead the First Division.
Perfect. Thank you, Sean, for that report. Now, we had a relegation tussle down in the Premier Division this evening at Head in the Game Park, where Drogheda United hosted Finn Harps. Watching the game for us was Con Sheehan.
Yeah, Diarmuid, 3-1 it finishes here ahead in the Game Park. A spirited comeback from Drogheda United and a vital one too. This was definitely a game of two halves. The first was extremely dull to the point where it's unbelievable how hectic the second half was in comparison. Both sides really struggled to create anything. You'd have to say Finn Harps were actually probably the better of the two sides. They were positive and pushed their players high up the pitch, whereas surprisingly Drogheda, as the home side, were actually the team looking to kind of catch them on the break, and Drogheda really only offered long balls into the channels in that half, and these didn't really have any effect. Harps also had the best two chances, if you'd even call them chances, of that half as well, to Ryan Rainey and Bastian Harry. The second half burst into life. 2 minutes in, the deadlock would be broken through Conor Turish, who headed in a crowded goalmouth from a Finn Harps corner kick, and straight away the rest of the game just ebbed and flowed and burst into life. Drogheda really reacted quite intensely, and for the next few minutes they had quite a purpose about them. It was almost as if they knew that, it was almost as if they were awoke to the fact that a loss would obviously fully drag them down into a proper relegation scrap with Finn Harps for that 9th place. But they responded well, and despite Sean Rowan being sent off for a second yellow on about 65 minutes in, I think it was, right afterwards, Evan Weir, after coming on off the bench for Dale Rooney, the substitute, responded with a goal. The ball was pulled back to him by James Clark, and he slotted it past Mark McGinley in the Finn Harps goal. So the man down didn't really affect him, and that was the way it continued on. Drogheda with the better side then for the rest of the game. For the last 20 minutes or so of normal time, both sides kind of tussled. There was lots of late challenges, lots of different bookings coming in, and it looked like it could go either way for that period, until Adam Foley would send the home crowd into elation, tapping home a lovely ball by substitute Ryan Brennan, who got down the flank and drilled it in. And Foley, returning from injury off the bench, was there to tap home. The subs really worked well for Kevin Doherty in the second half. Ryan Brennan and Adam Foley in particular gave them a new lease of life. Then an altercation would break out. It was a very hectic end to the game in stoppage time. An altercation would break out right after that 2-1, that goal to give Drogheda the 2-1 lead. And Bastian Harry was actually sent off for kicking out at Ryan Brennan. Drogheda would then wrap things up with what was practically one of the last kicks of the game, as Adam Foley then broke through on a counter-attack as Finn Harps looked for the equaliser, clipped the ball to the back stick to Darnage, and he volleyed past McGinley to make it 3-1. So a huge win for Drogheda. It looked bad for them at one stage, but now they are 6 points ahead of Finn Harps, and it finishes 3-1 ahead in the Game Park.
Perfect, Con. Thank you for that report. Adam Foley coming back to haunt his former employers. Now, in a game that was going to be contesting toward the top of the table, Derry City were in action back at the Roy McBride Brandywell Stadium, taking on Dundalk this evening. And watching the action for us was Rory Morrow.
Thanks, Diarmuid. Derry were hosting Dundalk tonight, and it was a dramatic 2-1 win for Dundalk that throughout the second half anyway you wouldn't have seen coming. Robbie Benson opened the scoring for the visitors on 10 minutes with 10 minutes played. Sam Boone played a pass, and Benson lashed a tremendous volley past Brian Maher into the far corner from the edge of the D. And from the rest of the first half, Derry didn't create a lot, to be honest. Jamie McGonigal and Will Patching sort of had their best half chances, if you like, just fizzing dangerous crosses into the area that no one was there to get on the end of. But after half time, Derry's intensity, Rudry Higgins obviously had words with them, and their intensity was much better. The tempo was up. Brandywell, there was a more harder atmosphere for the away side to contend with, but they were comfortable until 70 minutes. The substitution Higgins gambled. He brought on striker James Akintunde for right back Ronan Boyce, who'd struggled at the game. But Akintunde had an immediate impact. He won a free kick off Dar Leahy in 74 minutes, and that proved costly for Dundalk because from that free kick, Brandon Kavanagh whipped in a great cross, and Akintunde was there to head home, and it was 1-1. Brandywell was rocking. You could sense that Derry were going to go on and get a winner. Dundalk seemed to be increasingly ragged. They racked up 3 yellow cards in the space of 5 minutes. But it was actually Dundalk themselves who went up the other end and scored. Patrick Hubin with a lovely, low, accurate left foot finish after he was played in by substitute James Martin. And that was with 9 minutes to go. There was a bit of handbags afterwards. The manager, Stephen O'Donnell, was dismissed for arguing over a yellow card. And that galvanised the stadium again. And there was 6 minutes of that at a time, which gave Derry hope. And Will Patching had 2 free kicks, one that was blocked by the wall, and another in the 94th minute that rattled the crossbar. But other than that, Dundalk saw it out with game management. But throughout the second half, you wouldn't have seen it coming. It's a real sucker punch for Derry, but Dundalk got the hard-earned win.
Perfect, Rory. Thank you for that report. Now, we finished tonight's action with a Munster derby down in the First Division, where Treaty United were hosting Cove Ramblers down at the Markets Field, and reporting on the game for us was Mashapi Omanie.
Thanks, Derwin. This time last week, I said Treaty United, they're not going to get promoted if they defend like this. And, well, it's just going to be the same thing over and over again. It was carnage tonight, Here they were, again, their worst enemy. And they somehow drew 2-2 to a 10-man Cove Ramblers at the Marketsfield tonight. This means that Tommy Barrett's men are winless in their last 7 games, and they took the lead in 3 of those games. Dean George and Matt Keane both missed chances early on here before Mark Ludden made no mistake from the penalty spot after Harlan Mbaya was penalised for an inadvertent handball. Despite being in the ascendancy, they conceded a remarkable own goal 10 minutes later. Joe Gorman's overhit back pass caught the goalkeeper Jack Brady unaware, and that freak own goal seemed to kickstart the visitors, as James O'Leary in particular was a key difference maker for them, and Treaty had to make multiple defensive interventions to keep it at 1-1 at the break. Brady made a fantastic save to stop Danny O'Connor on the stroke of half-time, and Jason Abbott hit the crossbar from the corner. It was a remarkable few minutes to start the second half too. Treaty was sucker punch just after the break. Poorly defended set piece, and Brendan Throhill couldn't believe his luck, and he wasn't going to miss from close range. Then Mbayo, after his first half mishap, made another one. He failed to shield the ball properly or convincingly, and on rushing, Joe Collins was on the hand. He was clattered into, the referee pointed to the spot again, and again, he stepped up. 2 for Mark Ludden, and you're thinking, okay, surely they're going to go and score again. Off the bar came the visitors. Luke Desmond saw his well-hit strike cannon off the crossbar, and you're thinking this could go either way. And then Dara O'Sullivan was on a straight red card for a professional last-man foul, and surely you're thinking, okay, the hosts are going to win this. They didn't. Big save from Sean Barron. He reacted well and got down low to Joe Collins. Well-executed half volley. And after 4 stoppage time minutes, they halved and halved, but for some reason, they couldn't find the breakthrough. 2-2 the final score here.
Perfect, Mo. Thank you for that report. Now, we finished our action, of course, that's the final report, but we just have one quick comment left on our Facebook page by Tony Quinn saying, yup, the Bows, of course, a big win tonight for Bohemians down at Dalymount Park. And speaking of all the results tonight, we'll take a quick look at the results across both of the divisions this evening, just to give a quick brief recap, just if you've missed any of the score lines. Bohemians, of course, as I said, there were 2-1 winners over Sligo Rovers. Derry City again dropping points this evening, a 2-1 defeat to Dundalk at the Roy McBride Brandywell Stadium, not the result that they would have wanted this evening. Drogheda United managing to edge Finn Harps 3-1, thanks to former Finn Harps man Adam Foley getting on the score sheet for that game. But a big 3 points for them to try and get out of the relegation drop zone. St. Patrick's Athletic were suffered a 2-1 defeat at the hands of Shelbourne. I believe there's a stat that Shelbourne are joint second on the away league table this season. That's a very interesting thing when you look at it with how good Shelburne have been away from home this season. And in the first division, Cork and Wexford drew 1 apiece at Turner's Cross. Galway United now go top of the table with a 3-0 win over Athlone Town. Big result for them, of course, with Cork dropping points at home to Wexford, who are looking to get up into the playoff places, while Treaty United and Cove Ramblers, of course, played out a 2-2 draw this evening. And we'll take a look at the league table, as I've mentioned there. We'll start with the Premier Division table. Shamrock Rovers now have a 7-point lead at the top. Of course, they were in action last night against UCD, while Dundalk remain in third place, should I say, on 28 points. They have a bit of a gap ahead of them from St. Patrick's Athletic, and Drogheda United are now 6 points clear of Finn Harps into the drop zone. And we'll look at the statistics coming from the league as well. Jamie McGonigal is the top goal scorer in the league. Patrick Hubin, who got on the score sheet tonight, now sees him up to 8 goals for the season. And while Promise Mbachere is on 5 goals for the season, he bagged himself 2 assists tonight. So while he's only on 5, he definitely contributed to 2 of the goals this evening. And looking at the goalkeeping statistics coming from that league as well, it's Joseph Anang who remains the top goalkeeper with 8 clean sheets for the season. Alan Mann has picked up his 7th of the season last night to keep on track with the St. Pat's shot stopper. Now looking into the first division table, should I say, as I mentioned, Galway are now 2 points clear of Cork City thanks to their 3-0 win this evening over Athlone. Not the result that Cork would have wanted, and Waterford and Longford are both in action tomorrow evening. Interesting to see if they can continue winning ways on that one. But Treaty United managing to hold their place by 3 points as well to Wexford in 6th place. And looking at the statistics coming from that division as well, Phoenix Patterson remains the top goal scorer with 9 for the season. Stephen Walsh is on 8, and then it's joined with Brennan O'Brien, Whitmarsh and Lewis Britton on 7. And looking at the goalkeeping stats, just one goalkeeper has kept a clean sheet this evening. That will be Galway's Conor Kearns. He is now level with David Harrington on 7 clean sheets for the season. And we'll look now at the fixture list for the upcoming games. We have action, of course, tomorrow. Just one game in the first division, kicking off at 7:30. Longford Town hosting Waterford at Bishopsgate. Promises to be a very interesting tie there in that division. And as well, tomorrow we've action in the Women's National League, where Shelburne take on the DLR Waves, Sligo take on Cork City. Both of those games kicking off at 2 p.m. Wexford Youths host Peamount United, Galway Women's FC take on Bohemians, and Athlone Town take on Treaty United. All those games kicking off at 6 p.m. And we have a double game week actually in the Premier Division, with games kicking off Monday 7:45 unless stated otherwise. St. Pat's take on Bohemians, Sligo Rovers entertain Derry, Shelburne take on UCD, Drogheda host Shamrock Rovers, and Finn Harps take on Dundalk at 8 p.m. So that concludes all of our action, of course, from this evening, from all of the fixtures that we have covered around the grounds for you this evening. All the reports will be available on the Finalwhistle.ie website. We'll be back again tomorrow, of course, for the Women's National League around the grounds, and of course the First Division as well. And we will be back on Monday as well for another episode of Around the Grounds. Make sure to stay tuned to the Finalwhistle.ie website across the weekend for our numerous games that we'll be covering in both soccer and GAA as well. And we'll also have the action available on our social media channels as well for you to click through as well. We hope you have enjoyed tonight's show, and have a lovely rest of your Friday, and have a lovely weekend as well. And we'll be chatting to you again soon. But for me, goodbye.